your voice of the Valley, AM 1450 KBMW. Turntable Bob is here hanging out on a Friday, and it's time for your Snap Spotlight, brought to you by Snap Fitness in Wahpeton, your locally owned gym in Wahpeton. And I know someone here who knows the owners too. Jaida Fobb, your parents are the owners, so I'd like to think that you treat the owners pretty well. How's it going today?
Good. How about you?
I'm doing fantastic, and you're into the spring track season. You got to be a happy camper then.
Oh yes, yes.
And in your final year as well. So talk about the excitement kind of going into your senior season. Or
Yes.
now that you've had a couple of meets, but at the beginning of the senior season.
Yes, we're coming up. We're hopefully getting outdoor pretty soon. Next week, I think, is our first outdoor meet. So we're getting outdoor, and it's really just starting to kick in, like all of the excitement. We have some really good people this year. We're hopefully getting some good, get a good filled bus to state this year, yeah.
There you go.
But it's super exciting. Our first two meets went really well. We have a lot of good runners. We have two relays that are, I mean, they're really great for the beginning of the season. Goodness, we are 4x2. We got Taylor Mauk, Leah DeVries, Hallie Miller, and me. And I think our last meet we missed state qualifying for outdoor by 1 second.
Oh my!
Yeah, so that's a really exciting relay. And then our 4x4, Our last year's 4x4, we barely made it to state we were just the 6th place spot at EDC. And this year I'm hoping we're going to make it by time. Leah DeVries came out this year, and she's got a 105 400 for indoor right now. So she's second fastest 400. So we added her to our 4x4, and it's looking really promising this early in the season.
Oh, that's a tough race to just jump in and just be really good at.
Yeah, she came in.
Speaking from experience.
Yeah, she came in just like, she did really great for first two meets, and yeah, it's looking really promising.
Yep, and that's your kind of best race right now. And we were talking before we went on here about how you're going to be going to North Dakota State to continue your track career. Congratulations!
Thank you.
And going to be starting off just jumping right now, just focusing on high jump. Tell me a little bit about what that recruiting process was like, and a little bit about I guess your interest in what events you'd want to do.
Yeah, so in high school, it's really different. You do a lot of events. Coaches kind of just throw you in, see where you go. And so I've done a lot of events. I usually do 400, 200, and high jump are my three main events. This year I've kind of slowed down on the 200, but so my 400 and my high jump are my main events. And so, but for college, they recruit for like just main events. So like usually just one or two events. So you specialize in just those events. So I was recruited for high jump by Coach Pritchard at NDSU, and I initially met him last year, right before my junior season. So he was my first like track camp, like just going into the season. I missed my freshman and sophomore season due to injury, so I really wanted to come into the season like with a good just feeling in my chest with where I was going. So I went to NDSU high jump camp that winter, and I met Coach Pritchard. And I mean, immediately we just he's just a great coach. He's really he connects with each individual athlete. I mean, he's really great. And so I met him that last winter. And then this past summer, I also went to a 3-day camp with him. And then he approached me and basically was like, I wanna recruit you. And I was like, well, this is pretty cool. I mean, I wasn't really expecting it. He kind of came up and he's like, yeah, I want to talk to you after camp. And I was like, okay. And then he's like, yeah, I really want to recruit you. And I was like, okay. So then that whole summer basically was just like talking and phone calls and text messages. And then we scheduled my official visit this past summer. And then I went to an official visit with him late September. And I mean, it was homecoming weekend for NDSU.
Oh,
so it was like super cool atmosphere. I mean, everyone was just so excited, pumped. Like it was just super awesome. So yeah, and I just fell in love with it. I mean, it was I also went to an official visit for UND, and I had that visit later on in the year. I think it was October. And I mean, the coaches there are awesome. I was recruited there for multis, so I would have done a lot more events. But yeah, I had my official visit there with them, and I mean, it was super hard because I had this awesome NDSU visit, and it was really hard to just go to this UND visit and not compare it to my NDSU visit. But I really enjoyed it. The coaches were super awesome. I mean, the athletes were great. But I just had this feeling in my chest that it was NDSU, and it just like clicked after that visit. I mean, and then when I signed this November, it was like I got really bad senioritis. I just wanted to go to NDSU. It's like I didn't really realize like my senior year was like I was not one of the people that wanted to like get out right away, and then I signed, and it was like, okay, I'm so excited. Just want to go now.
Wish I could just fast forward now.
Well, now we only have 2 months, so it's kind of crazy how fast it went.
And I'm sure you're getting all excited for the dorm now. You're like, let's get all signed up for this and let's really get the ball moving. But you got to get through your senior season first. And you said you missed your freshman and sophomore seasons. What were the injuries you were dealing with?
Yeah, so I did gymnastics for 15 years, and I always had come from gymnastics straight to track. I wasn't super focused on track my freshman and sophomore seasons, but my freshman year, I was at regionals for gymnastics, and I broke my ankle. So that took me out for the whole season. I didn't get to compete at all. I was just basically the moral supporter. I was there, was cheering on my team. And then sophomore year, I was hoping for a really good season, and my first indoor meet, I was coming out of my 4x2, and I just rolled my ankle.
Oh, no.
So, yeah, I was out for a couple weeks for that. And then the next, I just got healed. I was at gymnastics, and I just had a little fluke, and I rolled it again, except other ankle. So 2 rolled ankles in 1 month, kind of. Yeah. So then came back from that, actually had some really good meets. I believe we had an indoor UND meet, and it went pretty well. And then later on in the season, I had a hip injury, and I went to many people, probably 4 or 5 people, and nobody could figure out what it was. It was kind of really weird. But they were all kind of thinking it was hip flexors, so I did a lot of hip flexor stuff, and it just never got better. And then I attempted to do a couple meets, but all of them kind of ended with me not being able to fully compete. And then that kind of ended with my sophomore season not ending the way I wanted it to. So I didn't go to state or anything that year. Kind of ended with a...
I'm sure the junior season, though, having such a great junior campaign kind of took the bad taste out of your mouth.
Yes.
Going into that junior season, talk about a little bit about, I talk to people who suffer injuries sometimes, and they have to kind of retrain their brain, to think, don't think about the injury. Don't think about getting hurt again. Yeah. Just do your thing. You've done this how many times? What was that process like as far as kind of getting yourself mentally prepared?
Yeah, so my junior season, at the beginning of the year, I decided I was going to stop gymnastics early so I could train for track to hopefully mitigate those injuries. So I stopped gymnastics early with the hope to go back in the summer. And I went to the gym. I was fully training. I was doing a lot of hip mobility and just training as a track athlete should. I mean, I wasn't doing a lot of gymnastic stuff. I was doing a lot of running, because that's what I noticed was getting it, was my running. So I started really early, and I started my training. And then that season, I mean, it went really well. My only goal, I went into that season not expecting a lot, but my only goal was to stay healthy. And I did, and I ended up making it to state, so that was really awesome.
It's a little bonus for you.
Yeah.
But I'm sure I know that you say your goal was to just stay healthy, but how great did that feel at the end of the year? To get through a full year and know I can do this every year the rest of my career. I can just get through and, fingers crossed, don't have to worry about injuries, hopefully.
Yeah, it was super awesome. I qualified both of my main events at the Kindred meet last year, so it was all in one meet. And, the bus ride home, it was kind of surreal. I was like, oh my gosh, I just did that. It was crazy. I wasn't even expecting it. I went into my high jump, and I hadn't even cleared 410, and then all of a sudden I jumped 5'1". It was really crazy. And then I qualified my 400 a little while before that, so I was tired and I was gassed, and I went and just did it. It was really crazy.
And you talked about walking away from gymnastics. I remember being really surprised when that happened, but what made track get the edge, I guess?
Yeah, it was my sophomore season when I was out for my hip injury. I didn't realize, I had the beginning of the season, and I saw what I could do, and I saw that I was able to run, and it was really fun for me. And when I was out, when I was just sitting there and watching everyone, I really realized I miss this, I want to do this. And so at the beginning of my junior year, my parents were like, okay, well, we can stop early from gymnastics, and we can see how it goes, and then we can go back in the summer. And after everything's done, and then you can go back and everything will be fine. And so I stopped gymnastics, and I had a full intention to go back in the summer, and I trained for track, and I had a really great track season. And then I like got to the summer mark, and I really was like, okay, like I've missed a whole 4 months of gymnastics. Like in gymnastics, like if you're not constantly training, it's really hard to like just go back.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me to just go back, and I was a level 10, so I was at the top of I was at the top. So for me to go back and then compete at the same level, it would have been really hard just having 4 months off.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would have had to train super hard. I would have had to give it my full attention. I would have had to just do a lot for gymnastics, when in my mind I really knew like track is what I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
So then I decided I wasn't going to go back, which was a really, really hard decision. I mean, when you do if you do a sport for 15 years of your life, it's really hard to just stop doing it. So
and a sport that you were successful in too.
Yeah,
so it must have been so hard. Like it feels like a gamble almost.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, well, I could stick with gymnastics. I've already shown that I've been successful there, but I've already shown that, I mean, in my little glimpses that I've seen, I can be successful in track too. So why not try to hammer that home? And it sounds like you made the right choice.
Yeah. I mean, like up until my end of my sophomore year, I was fully committed to doing gymnastics in college. But gymnastics is very, very, very competitive in college. When you get recruited for gymnastics, you don't always go into gymnastics doing all 4 events. You don't always go even competing. Sometimes you can go years without competing. Where like if I were to go for gymnastics, it would have been very hard for me to end up actually competing somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm very competitive, so I really like to compete. And even if it's like just anywhere, like I just want to do what I want to do. Like I want to do what I love. So, and for me, like track was like, okay, like I love doing track, and I could run somewhere, like I could actually compete somewhere. So that's kind of what made me choose. But I mean, it was so hard. It was not just a spur of the moment. I spent probably the whole year leading up to my like stopping of gymnastics, deciding if I was going to stop or not.
Mm-hmm.
It was really hard.
How was I guess the weight being lifted off your shoulders when you decided on NDSU and you're like, all right, now that's taken care of. I can just focus on my last year of my last year of high school track.
Yeah. So when I was talking to Coach Pritchard, he was like, I'm going to have you we're going to have you sign right at the beginning of the year so that you can just get it done with and you don't have to worry about it. And like immediately when he said that, I was like, okay, like that's a relief. Like, thank goodness.
Yeah.
Cause he was like, you can sign right in November and then you just have the whole rest of the season. You'll be fine. So that's what I ended up doing. I signed in November. And I mean, when I was signing, I was like shaking. I was like shaking. But once it was done, it was just like, oh my goodness. Like, yeah, it was a relief, like you were saying.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess my last question would be, I guess, goals for your last season.
Yes. Okay. Obviously make it to state.
Yep.
I'm hoping to jump. I mean, my goals for jumping are 5.5, which, yeah.
What's the school record?
5.8.
Oh, you got that easy.
5.6. I don't know.
We go outside and do that right now.
400, sub 60, sub 59.
Mm-hmm.
I missed it by 100th of a second last year.
I was gonna say I thought you did get it.
Yeah, I got 60.01 last year. So hoping that'll be easy this year because last year, but
just knock it out before you get to state. You'll be all right.
Yeah. 4x2, make it to state this year. We didn't make it to state last year, so goal is making it to state this year. 4x4, make it to state. I may be doing the 800 this year. We don't know, but 800 just kind of giving my all every time.
Oh, gotcha. Oh, geez. Don't sign me up for the 800. I wouldn't be up for that. I can't believe you've been happy about running 400.
It's definitely it's a death race. But, you got to push through. I
never figured out like the science of it. I mean, like as far as like this is where you do the 100.
Yeah.
Like I can't do 100% all the way around.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be gassed the last 100 meters. I can't figure out what you're supposed to be doing actual strategy wise. But
it's kind of just each individual person got their own way of doing it. It's not. I don't know if I even have a way of running it. I kind of just go, and then whenever I see people speeding up, I'm like, okay, we gotta go.
If you're having fun doing the 400, you're probably doing it wrong. That's kind of what I've gathered.
Yep.
It's just like, you should not have this much energy. Why are you talking to me when you get done with this? But all right, anything else like that, Jaida?
No, thank you.
Jaida Fobb, Wahpeton track and field member, future NDSU track and field
Yes.
member as well. Looking forward to see how the rest of your senior year goes and what comes after as well.
Yes, thank you.
Yep, appreciate you and appreciate your parents as well for sponsoring the segment. Shout out to Snap Fitness in Wahpeton, and we'll do our Snap schedule reminder before we get this all wrapped up. Nothing going on today, but tomorrow the Wahpeton track and field team heads to Grand Forks for a 10 a.m. meet. NDSCS baseball and softball both take on Dakota College at Bottineau in doubleheaders starting at 1 o'clock. NDSCS baseball and softball once again taking on Bottineau at noon the next day. That'll be at home as well. They'll be at their respective fields. Monday, NDSCS baseball and softball once again taking on Lake Region State. Another doubleheader at 1:30. Tuesday has BW softball at 4 p.m. against Moorhead at home. Breckenridge track and field heads to Barnesville for a 4 p.m. meet. Breckenridge girls golf is at Frazee at 5 p.m. And Wahpeton baseball has their season opener at Valley City at 5 p.m. Wednesday will feature the NDSCS baseball team at home taking on Ridgewater College at 2 p.m. And then Thursday, Breckenridge boys golf in their first meet of the year at Frazee at 10 a.m. Wahpeton track and field heads to West Fargo Horace for a 3 p.m. meet. Breckenridge baseball hosts Pelican Rapids at 4 p.m. for a doubleheader. And then BW softball is at Pelican Rapids at 4 p.m. So that's a look at your Snap schedule reminder, and that'll do it for our Snap Spotlight for today. Thank you all so much for joining in, and another season of Snap Spotlights are in the book. It's been a lot of fun. I don't know if we're going to add some more to the Snap Spotlights going up forward here, but right now, as of now, this is looking to be the last one of the season. We'll pick it back up in the fall, unless we resurrect it once again. So I just want to let you guys know that, and thank you so much for tuning in. Now, for a quick word from our sponsor, shout out to Snap for sponsoring all these videos and all these interviews on the radio. Very much appreciate you guys supporting local athletics, and yeah, let's get to it.
Snap Fitness, your locally owned gym in Wahpeton, wants to have you join their workout family. Snap offers personal training, and owner Jaida Fobb will even write up workout plans for you. If you're an athlete in the Twin Towns, Snap Fitness will help you make sure you're prepared for the upcoming sports season. To all the retired athletes over 65, Snap Fitness participates in the Silver Sneakers Insurance Program, and most major insurances reimburse for memberships to Snap. Stop by Snap Fitness today and ask about their membership packages. They're located at 102 7th Street South in Wahpeton.